Hello, this is Kale1001 here to bring you another review. It's been a while, I understand that it's been a while, but I'm back now and I've got a little bit of free time, so here's a review. I have been planning on Evil Dead, but it has been a little while since it came out, so I don't really think you'll give a shit about hearing my opinion on that. So I felt, why not just do Iron Man 3? That's out, it's fresh, so might as well do that. So, as most of you might know, I'm a huge Marvel fan, uh, particularly in Iron Man. He's one of my favourite characters. I absolutely loved the first one, but I never liked the second one. And then I loved the Avengers. So my anticipation for Iron Man 3 was high, but not too high. I didn't want to get my expectations low. Um, but I was excited to see the Mandarin and to hear the whole extremist, I think that's how you pronounce it, the extremist storyline. So I was excited to see it for the most part. I finally got to see it back on the first. Like I said, this is just now I've managed to get a review out. And to give an overall summary without spoiling anything, it was good. I I thought it was a good movie. I felt it was a much improvement over its predecessor, in pretty much every way, with the exception of a few things, and I'll go into them in a little more detail later. But I will say straight off the bat, it is not as good as Iron Man 1. People say it's the best Iron Man. I'm sorry, but it's not. It does have quite a lot of issues which I'll need to address. But as a standalone movie, it's excellent. It's an excellent Marvel movie. And as a comic book movie, I would say it's very good though. And here's why. There's a lot of things that happen in this movie that, well, let's face it, any comic book fan would hate. There's a plot twist in this movie, and we all know about the plot twist, so I'm not going to go into detail about it, but there's a plot twist in this movie that pretty much most comic fans absolutely hate. I'm sorry, that's something stupid. And for me, it pissed me off as well. Not to as much as others, but I don't see the point of them doing it. So things like that, and also what they do with the extremists storyline, a lot of fans will not like. I've not read it personally, so I don't know, and I'll just roll along the story, and I thought the story was fine. But what I've read of the extremist storyline, it doesn't follow it. Guy Pearce's character has a much bigger role in this than he does in the comics. In the comics, it's pretty much a minor character, but in this movie, he's a major player in the film. So that's a big change, and I don't know what fans will think about that, but I really didn't care for it. I really didn't like it that much. So yeah, that's my thoughts on how it's adaptation. Now let's get into the positives about it. Robert Downey Jr. does an excellent job. No surprise there. He's also done an excellent job since the first Iron Man. He did an excellent job in Iron Man 2, despite my complaints of Iron Man 2. And he did an even better job in The Avengers. And this movie is no exception. He did an excellent job. Gwyneth Paltrow is back, and she's much better than she was in Iron Man 2. She's back to being witty, sarcastic, and just overall likable, and not an annoying bloody bane in your back. So she was good. Don Cheadle's in the movie. I'll go into my thoughts on him later, but let's just say he's basically the same as he was in Iron Man 2, not just maybe a little bit better. Guy Pearce does do a good job in the movie, I have to admit, for the most part. Other actors in the movie are Jon Favreau, who directed the first two, but he's not directing this one. This film, the first one was directed by Shane Black, who is best known for writing the Monster Squad and Lethal Weapon. So, and I thought he did a good job, but I'll get to him later. But yeah, Jon Favreau, he was funny in the movie. I really enjoyed his performance. Rebecca Hall's in the movie, not much to say. She was fine, I guess. And finally, we come to Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley is a great actor. He's a really good actor, and I personally like his work. I felt that he did do a good job in the movie for what he did. For what he did in the movie, he did a good job. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil anything, but overall, he did do a good job. Now let's get into Shane Black. I felt Shane Black did an excellent job in directing. This film had a much different tone than the previous two. It was much darker, and the first one, the second one in particular, had a much more light-hearted tone. It wasn't really that dark. The first one was more grounded in reality, but it was still light-hearted at times. This film has a very dark tone. It's very somber, which is thanks to Shane Black, and I felt Shane Black is what the series needed. Jon Favreau did a great job in the first one, but I don't think he should have done the second one. I think he should have got a different director, in my personal opinion. The action scenes in this movie were fantastic, as with the CGI. They were fun and they were engaging. There's one scene in this movie that I was at the edge of my seat in the movie. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, what else was I liked? The story was fine. It was fine to follow along. I didn't have any really issues with the story, except for a couple, which I'll get to in a second. So yeah, that's pretty much the main good stuff. There's a lot of other good things to say as well, but that. But now let's go into the negatives because that's something I really want to get to. I'm not going to talk about the twist because I already explained it, but Don Cheadle's War Machine. Now, Don Cheadle does a good job, but I still prefer Terrence Howard because Terrence Howard just had this more badassness to him. He felt like, I don't know, he just felt like he had a bigger, much better role in the job, in my opinion. Don Cheadle, well, he's a good actor and I really like Don Cheadle. He's just too much of a nice guy, and I just don't see him pulling off his kind of role. And his role in the movie is, well, it's no different than Iron Man 2. His role is just the exact same. He barely has like 15 minutes to 20 minutes of screen time, and he's one of the main characters. He didn't get like a story arc in it. He doesn't have any arc in it. He's just there, just for fan service, and I don't like that. He doesn't really play War Machine. He plays Iron Patriot, and again, I don't see the point in Iron Patriot. I felt Iron Patriot was just there, just for the comic fans. He should have just played War Machine again, in my personal opinion. Another one I never liked was the pacing of the film. I felt that the pacing was off a few times. When I was watching the movie, I felt that there were scenes missing from it. I don't know why. I'm not going to go into any details about the story, but it's like I was watching. It's like, did they skip past the scene? And I didn't really feel rushed, but the first act did. The first act felt kind of rushed. The second and third act were fine, but I just felt like, I just felt like it was went by too fast, and not in a good way, in a bad way. So I didn't feel that was kind of rubbish. My next complaint does have to go to the ending. I felt that I didn't really care for the ending, if I'm being honest. I mean, everything's just tied up in such a nice way. Yeah, no, I don't like that. And it ends like, well, it just ends like, oh, it's not going. It ends in a way where there could be an Iron Man 4, but there also couldn't be. So, and I just didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was just kind of mediocre at best. Um, so yeah, anything else to say about it? There's really not much else for me to say. I think I've pretty much went over the crust of it. Um, yeah, so overall, my overall thoughts on it is a good movie, but it does have a lot of issues with it. If you want me to do a spoiler-ish where I go into a lot more detail, then please ask, I will do it, but for now, here, this is just a basic review for people that have not seen it, or are interested in seeing it. It is a good movie, it's a good popcorn flick, it's a good film to maybe take a friend to see, or a girlfriend to see, or a wife, or son, or father, I don't know. Something to go with, but I think if you are a Marvel fan, really die hard, like me, you will be kind of disappointed. I was kind of let down a little bit, but not to the extent of Iron Man 2. It's better than something like Spider-Man 3 or X-Men 3, so don't worry. And it's better than Iron Man 2. And it's one of the better comic book movies, but that being said, my overall opinion is going to be a 7.5. Like I said, it's a good movie, just not great. And in fact, it's nowhere close to being great. So, yeah, that's my review of Iron Man 3. Phase 2 of Marvel's cinematic universe has begun. Next, we've got Thor, which I'm looking forward to, Captain America, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Then we wrap up with the Avengers in 2015. So, I will do reviews on them, I promise you that. I promise you that they will get reviews. So, until next time, this is KL1001, or sorry, 10,001. Keep getting that mixed up, I don't know why. And this is my review of Iron Man 3.